Hello everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. So in today's video it is going to be the best bunny that you can use for the void erosion purges. So without further ado guys, let's get right on into today's video. Before we do that though, real quick, my creator code is going to be on screen right now and my Discord server is also going to be linked in the description. So please do join up that Discord server, it would greatly be appreciated by me. Now let's actually get on into today's video. This is going to be a complete setup for Bunny. So let's start off with the modules that you are going to want to run on Bunny herself. Now for this build, we are going with a infinite sprinting build, and we are going to be having high damage with it. It is also going to be a non-critting build. So this is what we are rocking. Now the maneuvering module can be changed completely, whatever you prefer. I just prefer long distance. So we're starting off with high voltage for obviously more damage to less enemies, and this is also going to help with our cooldown, which is a part that they don't really state on there. Next up, we're using narcissism because we are going to be just completely sprinting the entire time we are playing. All you need is 1 HP module. All the way to Void Purge level 20, you only need 1 HP module, and I promise you that is good enough, especially with Bunny. Now, we are going to be focusing on electric and focusing on singular for cooldown and for a damage buff. Then to back that up even further, we're going to be using singular and electric amplification. This is going to delete all of our crits and again add more power to our damage. And then for range, we are going to be using maximize range and skill expansion, and then we are finishing this off with strong mentality for skill cost as well as maximize conservation. Now it is a simple bunny build and it basically doesn't get any easier than this. The way that you are going to be playing this is literally just by activating your second ability, staying sprinting constantly, and then just let your high voltage take over and absolutely delete every single enemy. So now that we've gone on over the config, let's go on over the rest of the setup. So for the reactor, this is what I have gone with. Ideally your optimization condition could be whatever weapon you prefer running. I'm going to give you my enduring legacy in this instance. For the two stats in the middle for this specific build, you are going to go with electric and singular, of course, but the stats on the bottom, I'm going with skill duration up and skill cost. So this is going to allow us to have completely infinite sprinting, infinite MP regeneration whilst using our ability. However, if you do not want to have completely infinite because it is a tiny bit overkill, I would recommend having other stats be something along the lines of skill duration up, ideally, because you do want to have a little bit or as close to infinite as possible. But if you don't want to go with that, I would just suggest having other stats like singular and having electric on there to boost your damage. I don't have a reactor like that. The closest thing I've got is just like one stat like singular on here, for example. But ideally, skill cost, skill duration, electric damage or singular damage is going to be best, or range would be quite good in this specific instance. Next up, we are going to talk about the external components. Now for the external components, we are using two part sets. So we're using 2 parts of a supernova set, and we are also using 2 parts of an annihilation set. So for the supernova set, I'm using the power, and I'm also using the processor, and then I'm using memory and sensor from annihilation set. You can mix and match. As long as you've got 2 of each, you should be good to go. Now I am using max HP and recovery out of combat, which is important, then chill resistance, which is also nice, but MP recovery in combat is going to be the more important stat over here. Then for the memory, I'm using MP recovery modifier, which is the one that matters. If you get defense or electric resistance along with this, that would also be quite nice. And then for the processor, you just want max shield recovery modifier is also quite nice, but toxin resistance is also pretty good. So we are using these two part sets for, as you can see on supernova, a 8.6% electric skill power modifier increase to boost our damage on our electric attacks. And then we are using 2 parts of the annihilation set for extra duration, again allowing us to keep that infinite uptime. If you look at our third ability, you can see that our cooldown is 19.3 seconds whilst our duration is 23.2. This means that you've got more uptime, so you've got enough time to cast your ability again, meaning that this is going to be completely infinite. If you do, however, have any issues with your duration, for example, you can't get a duration up on your reactor or something of the sort, I would suggest changing increased HP over to Battle of Stamina for an extra 8.8% skill duration to cover, the duration, but it comes at the cost of your health. So you gotta be prepared to lock in whilst rocking this module. So that is the Descendant modules, the Reactor, and the external components. Now for the weapon that I'm going to be pairing this up with, it is going to be the Enduring Legacy. Now, I'm not going to go on over the amount of stupid stuff we've got on here because of the core, so I'm going to go on over the main stat rolls that you want at the bottom. Weak point, critical hit damage, critical hit rate, and I've gone with rounds per magazine because I do like a little bit of a bigger magazine on my Legacy, but that is completely up to you. Now for my extra core upgrades, I've made this more into a Colossi killer, but you know, that doesn't really matter here as much per instance, but that weak point damage on the second part of the core and the sprint speed is also going to be quite nice if you do go with that. The sprint speed is very important because the more you run, the more you will proc high voltage. As for my Enduring Legacy build, I've gone with something like this. So I've gone with action, reaction, rifling reinforcement, weapon charge, sharp precision shot, weak point sight, fire enhancement, better concentration, fire rate concentration, concentration priority, and better insight. This is just going to allow us to have a lot of firearm attack, have a bigger magazine, allow us to pull our fire rate, more weak point damage, more critical hit rate and more critical hit damage, and then more critical hit rate more critical hit damage along with a little bit of extra fire rate, and then more critical hit damage right over here, and then fire enhancement to put the fire element on here. Now you can completely change the element if you want. If you want to throw electric on, you know, go for it. It's completely up to you, but I would recommend using fire. That's just my personal preference. It's completely up to you which element you want to go with, but this is the legacy I'm going to be using to basically take care of the bosses, because the AoE from Bunny's high voltage is going to take care of all the small enemies. Then I'm going to be using this legacy to take care of the bosses. So that is this entire setup. So let me show you the gameplay loop and how I play Bunny, and let's get right on into that. Again, just for reference, we're using Purge 17 on public to make this completely fair. If it works in public, it will work in private. Okay, so let me go on everything important with this Bunny gameplay. Now, the first thing is you are always going to want to be sprinting, and you are always going to want to make sure your third ability is active, the high voltage ability. Now, with this, you are just going to maintain it no matter what. The only time you're allowed to stop is when you are reviving someone, and you only do that when the coast is clear. Now, with the Enduring Legacy that I have, as I did show on my cores, I did kind of glance over it or skip over it a little bit, but I do have additional sprint speed. Now, you can get that on 2 of the different cores on the Enduring Legacy, allowing for over 20% bonus on sprint speed. This is amazing for Bunny because, one, she's already fast. This makes her even faster. The more she runs with this extra sprint speed, she's going to be triggering high voltage even more, therefore doing more damage and deleting the enemies faster. Now, as you can see from this gameplay, close room, tight knit room, or anything, if you stop sprinting, even though the ability is on, you're still all good to go. Your stacks stay maintained, and as you can see from my MP, no problems over here. Now, Bunny, a great Descendant for this. I truly think Bunny is a Descendant of all time. She can do absolutely freaking anything. Ignoring the Bunny glazing, as you can see here, all we do is literally just keep moving and we're all good to go. I've not really been using the Enduring Legacy too much because the other people I'm playing in with public are taking care of the bosses for me, but you can see that this build does work. High voltage spawn traps enemies, 1 or 2 buzzes from the ability, they're all dead, and then just keep it moving, and it's as simple as that. So that's basically been this video, and I hope you have enjoyed. If you did, please do smash that like button. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing. I do loads of guides on the first Descendant, and if there's anything you want to see, please let me know in a comment and I'll do my best to make it into a video for you. But that's basically been this video. I hope you have enjoyed. If you did, please do smash that like button. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!